Hi and hello everyone. This is your facilitator Commander for this course Decorators in Python. This is our last, in fact second last lecture on Python Decorators. Here we are going to summarize our learning. We're going to discuss one more example related to Python Decorators, and at the end we'll be discussing the exercise that I'll give you to solve in order to give me the feedback about whether you would be able to solve the exercise or not. And the last video would obviously be the solution to the exercise. So overall, we started discussing the decorators, its importance, and how and where it could be used, its syntax, its workflow and logic, and then we discussed few examples, and it ranged from simple to a bit more complex. In this video we'll just summarize all the things. So what a Python decorator does, it dynamically alters the functionality of a function, method or class without actually changing the source code or without creating the subclasses. So with this we also serve the main functionality or the feature of the Python, that is don't repeat yourself. And with this we move to use cases of the Python decorators. Number one is it is authorization in framework. It is used in authorization in Python frameworks such as Flask and Django. Number two is it is used for logging calls and logging output, maybe results. We also discussed this in the form of importance, where transaction reports were required to be created for audit purpose. Then measuring execution time, yes, that could be used. So if we need to check what is the execution time of a function, we could check it using the decorator by creating the decorator and decorating the function that we need to check for execution time. And synchronization as well. You can see a number of decorator examples on this website, that is wikipython.org, Python decorator library. So let's see this. So there are a number of examples and sample codes available for Python decorators. You can go through this, and if you have any queries you can contact me back. And for that also you can get me connected with me on my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can connect with me on Twitter, on Udemy, on Medium, where I write blog as well. So you can get connected to me, and in case of any question you can ask me anytime, and I'd definitely love to answer your queries. The next thing is we are just going to create a simple Python decorator function, but it is in terms of code it is simple, but it does a very important function. It enables and disables a function. So if I write down definition unchanged and pass function to it as a parameter, and then return the same function, it is going to do it is not going to do any change in the behavior. So it is kind of like keeping the function as it is, that is being decorated. But if you want to disable the function, we can create another function within a decorator function and pass in the arguments and key value arguments as required, or as is required in the given the function to be decorated, and then return an empty function that doesn't do anything, like it just passes. So let's execute this. Now it's executed. Let's move on. Now we have created a simple show greeting function. When we execute this, it is going to print, and when we disable the same show function and just execute this and move towards execution of this function, it doesn't do anything because we have already disabled the function. Now there would be other use cases as well, like repeating function twice. We can use decorators for this. We can also use decorators for checking if the argument passed is an integer, string, etc. We can do mathematical operations on output of a function using the decorators. So there are numerous use cases that you can do with the decorators, and the best thing about it is you can use decorators with multiple functions at the same time. So the purpose, don't repeat yourself, is very well served with these decorators. Now let's discuss the exercise. You will have to create a decorator function with one argument and check if the argument being passed within the function is an integer or a string, and if that is not a string or an integer, you should print the decorator function should print wrong type. And you can easily do this. I'll share you with the simple format. This is the check type decorator function that you need to create, and when you're going to when that decorator is created, you can pass the function to be decorated with this decorator and check if that checks whether the integer is passed or not. And if this is not an integer, it should print a wrong type. And the same way, if a string is passed and when string is required and the same string is passed, it should execute. But when a string is required and the string is not passed as a parameter and the function is being decorated with the check type, it should print that wrong data type being passed with the function. I hope this is clear. May you have any queries, you can definitely contact me, and for that you can subscribe to YouTube, Twitter, or Udemy or Medium channels. And may you have any queries, you can feel free to contact me. Thank you.